all your thoughts a fighting chance. Ask your fears and doubts, would you like to dance? And open up your eyes. See the world and let the world see you. Take the time to love the things you do, and you hear it when your spirit starts to rise.
Hello everybody, I'm Christian O'Neill. Welcome to Path to Wellness. Thank you for joining us. Today we have local energy workers and channelers Matthew Blank and Emily Bowe. They're with us today and they're going to share their practice with us. Together they have the Indigo Healing Institute, which is an interesting name. Maybe you could tell us where the name came from.
Well, the name did come from both of us. The indigo indicates a healing frequency, which is carries a certain vibration. So we're going to talk a little bit about energy work and what we do, but the indigo indicates a particular healing frequency that is at a pretty high level. It's also been described by many healers, especially ones who have the ability to see auras like we do, as the color of the aura of some human beings who are here on Earth at this time. And Matthew and I both carry that indigo aura, and with that comes certain healing gifts, and some of those are our clairvoyance, our ability to read energy, feel energy, and to tune into energy in the universe. And so it also describes kind of the philosophy of healing. So indigo healing means that we believe that everyone has the ability to experience healing and wellness at an optimal level, and that a healed version of each of us exists at all times.
Every individual on a higher level, on a higher vibration, they are healed and whole already, and their soul has really chosen to come into this life for certain lessons and is prepared at any given moment for certain experiences and wanting to experience certain things. We're welcoming them in, and along with hearing what their kind of conscious self is asking for, we're listening to on a soul level, like what is it that they're here for. And so along with reading their energy, we're picking up on that. We're listening to their higher self.
And in order to facilitate that, you have the assistance of spirit guides. Is that correct? That's
right.
Okay.
We're working with our guides along with their guides and their higher self. So if you will, there's a tremendous party going on where everyone is co-creating this healing. And so we're checking in. How do we align this person with the highest version of themselves that they are ready for at this time?
You said that everyone has these spirit guides. That's true. Now, can you tell us a little bit about them? Are they people that were on Earth at one time, or were they ever on Earth?
There's all different types of guides, and so we do believe that everybody has guides, and at least a few, if not up to 7 or even more. And they come in many different forms. So for each individual, they may have animal guides. They may have guides who are loved ones, relatives who've passed on and are now coming back to help in spirit form. They could be what we call angels, fairies, and then what we call star beings, who are basically souls that don't necessarily, they may have lived on Earth before, or they may have not, but right now are living in kind of a different star system. Very, all benevolent and loving. We believe that it is, at the spiritual level, there are many benevolent, loving guides for all of us.
How is it that some people or I would have guessed most people remain ignorant of this, or they're just never in contact with them? How does that work? Some people, like yourselves, are aware that they're there. How do they make themselves known to you?
Sometimes they make themselves known to us, and sometimes we have to reach out to them. And our understanding in our experience is that everybody has the ability to connect to their spirit guides, and we teach people how to do that if they are interested. And in a weekend workshop class, we can connect anybody to their spirit guides, and where they will by themselves be able to feel their presence and know their presence. And but what we also notice is that most children are communicating with their spirit guides all the time, and we don't always call them spirit guides. A lot of parents will call them their imaginary friends, or just kind of saying, oh, they're just playing by themselves. But often children are actually communicating with their guides. Once they get to around the age of 5, they kind of start to get disconnected from that spirit world, especially if they go to a regular school and they start to really get involved in that kind of education. And then for us, we both were contacted by our spirit guides, I think. For me, I kind of kept my connection most of my life, from when I was a child onward. But then, realized later on that it was such a gift that it needed to be shared, and receive some training to be able to help other people connect to their guides. So I don't like to give people the idea that you have to be unique or special, or have some kind of special gift in order to know your spirit guides. Part of our goal is that everybody knows this and experiences it if they want, if they choose to, and that they can ask for guidance all the time.
And we believe that at some point everyone is going to be in contact with their guides. Like we are continuing to evolve as individuals on the planet. People are continually becoming more sensitive, and consciousness continues to expand. Perhaps in our lifetime, perhaps not.
Okay, now one question that does come to mind for me is I read some accounts recently that I felt were pretty credible about some actually like malevolent presences that some people had experienced. One comes to mind, a teacher named Richard Rose. I was reading his book, and he was a very credible person, and he could see spirits or whatever. And there was 2 people that he was talking about that he saw were possessed, I guess you would say. So does that conflict with your understanding a little bit, with that they're just beneficent presences, or?
Not at all. Part of what I have to explain is that there's many different versions of reality in the world, and we create our own reality, and what happens within us or what happens outside of us is a reflection of what's inside of us. And so if someone is experiencing something like a scary experience with spirit, it's because there's fear inside of them. And so part of our goal is to help people to not feel that fear, because what's inside of you is what you're going to attract. It doesn't matter if it's spirit or if it's something in the material world. If you're very afraid inside, you're going to attract to you experiences that will reflect that fear. And so it's the same way as if there's someone who's really afraid about money and not making enough money, they're going to keep attracting, ways that they keep experiencing financial scarcity or never feeling like they have enough, crisis, things like that. One of the first things that I work with my students on is helping them to recognize that they have so much light inside themselves, and that love is a great tool. And as soon as you let love shine through your heart, anything that is fear-based is going to disappear. You've probably heard when people talk about light and dark, if you're in a dark room, all you have to do is bring in a tiny, speck of light and the whole room lights up. And so it's the same thing when you're working with energy and at the spiritual level. If there is, any kind of darkness in your environment, all you have to do is tune into that light within you, that love within you, and that darkness will disappear. So I don't believe that those stories are not credible or not true. They're true for those people, but I would love to work with those people and help them to not be in that place of fear and have those experiences. And fear is a very powerful tool, not just here on our planet, but in the universe. And I think, we call ourselves light workers, along with a lot of other people out there on the planet right now, because part of our goal is to show people that we don't have to live in a fear-based way that we can choose to be in the light.
Okay, so the other aspect of your, well, it's just more than two aspects, but I think another big aspect is energy work. We talked about that a little bit. So we had a yoga teacher on. We talked a little bit about prana. It's kind of the yogic understanding, and then we had a DOM on. We talked about chi. Maybe you could describe the way you work with energy and your understanding of energy a little bit.
Well, there are different ways to do it, and when I'm explaining it to people, I talk about the energy field. As with those disciplines, we have these different energy bodies that are kind of layered over each other. Our physical body, I mean, you know, science has shown that everything is made up of energy. Matter is made up of energy. So, if you will, our physical body is energy. Our emotional body is energy. We have a mental body. So we have this energy field where the energy is constantly flowing, and as an energy worker, I'm looking at the overall field of the person, and I'm looking for places where there are blocks, where the energy is not flowing well, and that can look like almost anything. It's like a fingerprint. The energy body reflects what's happening with that person. And the body is always reaching for homeostasis. It's always in the process of healing, of finding the optimum flow. So I'm looking at that. And did you want to touch on it another way?
Yeah, well, I like how you say, you know, there's the different layers. So when we're doing energy work, we are working with all the different layers of healing: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. I think that there's shifts that can happen at the energetic level that can then precipitate further healing, either at the physical or emotional or spiritual. So when we're working with energy, we're actually going into a heightened state. We're raising our vibration and raising the vibration of the person we're working with, so that we can actually remove blocks. So Matthew, for example, is a wonderful, what we call a psychic surgeon. He can go in, he can see in the energy fields where there is a block and these blocks can be caused by physical trauma, emotional trauma, patterns throughout life, even things from past lives. And he can see it and feel it and sense it, or we both can, but this is kind of his specialty, and kind of just energetically with his guides, who are healing guides, go in and actually remove those blocks to healing. So again, that can precipitate a healing at the physical level if needed, or at the emotional level, and that way.
Okay. All right, that's a great overview. I was lucky enough to work with Matthew and Emily last week, so we have some video footage. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll come right back.
During the session, we're going to ask you to lie down, and essentially you don't really need to do anything. We're going to ask you more to notice.
But basically all you have to do is relax.
And so we're going to call in the light and the highest healing guides to assist Christian with the healing work that he's here to do. I call in my guides, the one, and Emily's guides, and Christian's guides.
Christian, take a nice deep breath and feel yourself drop into your heart center. So you're thinking about your heart chakra, not your physical heart. Right there in the middle of your chest.
It's a deep sadness. Some anger and resentment under it. In your solar plexus chakra, the place of your power and your will, what I'm seeing is that you gave away some of your personal power, and I'm going to invite Archangel Michael to come in. He severs ties that are no longer serving us.
So I'm going to do a little bit of emotional clearing work, Christian, and all I need you to do is to tap on your heart and thymus points. So you just want to tap right there. And so Christian, I want you to visualize a beautiful healing white light that comes from the universe. It's available to you because it's available to everybody, and it holds in it the frequency of unconditional love. And then see it begin to move down your spine, until it reaches your first chakra, which is located at the base of your spine. You can see the white light again come into your crown chakra and then move down into your throat chakra, which is right in the middle of your throat. And I'm seeing or hearing the message that through your speech, you'll be able to clear a lot of energy.
Using your voice both physically and as you express your intention in the world is really going to help.
I want you to visualize your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, opening up so that you can see the white light that is actually pouring out of your crown chakra.
It's good.
How do you feel?
Oh, got real deep relaxation.
Yeah.
I was able to stay in my heart center a lot more, just pretty consistently.
So you may feel at times, some pain in your heart as like acid reflux or something like that. Although I have a feeling that may improve after this session, but if you do, dropping into your heart would be a good idea. Because basically it's your body telling you this is where we need your attention. If you have some stomach and pain in your stomach, you would drop into your stomach. There's a lot that that your body knows, your spirit knows, that you're not consciously aware of yet. So what was really cool was that at the end of the chakra balancing, I saw the universal healing light sync up with your crown chakra, which is where you receive information, so that you can really easily, this information that your higher self is taking in is going to easily get integrated into your own wisdom.
The only thing I can say is thank you.
You're welcome.
I really, really appreciate it.
Okay, great, and we're back. So when we left, we were talking about the blocks. And so if you're working on these different levels, physical, emotional, mental, my guess is the blocks look different. So I think maybe the audience would want to know, what do these blocks look like and how do you pick them up? Is it palpable to you? Is it your intuition? Do you see it in the aura?
Okay, well, it's a great question, and it's interesting because they always look different and every experience is different. Sometimes I will actually see the block as if I'm peering into their physical body and I'm seeing the organ. A lot of times I'm seeing a color, something very subtle, or a shape. Sometimes I'm seeing a disturbance in their chakra, which is a part of the energy system, and so I'm kind of going by like the negative image, like what should that be shaped like in a sense. Some of the blocks have a shape which is very symbolic, and so the shape may give me more information about it, or it may be a shape that I don't know what to associate this with, but the client might know. So I might ask them a question like, do you like baseball? And then they'll tell me, their association, and that will help me put puzzle pieces together, essentially, like, okay, this is past life, or this is, relationship thing. Sometimes the guides will tell me exactly what needs to be done, or exactly what I'm seeing, but oftentimes it's I figure it out as I go.
So what type of issues can people bring to this type of work? What does it really lend itself to?
People come to us a lot with physical concerns, if they're having health concerns. And people often will come to us after they've seen a number of practitioners and have not found relief. And as much as I would love people to come even earlier, I think people come at exactly the right time. And I feel that we can assist them, at any point when they come in. But every client who comes, it's unique. It's really, as Matthew was saying earlier, we work at the soul level. So we can't tell someone when they come in, you're going to get this result by working, this equals this. The first thing we do is we check in with the soul and see what kind of healing that soul wants at this time. We do work with all levels of healing, so it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be mental. Some people could get an instantaneous relief from their healing. Some people might have to do some more work, and and change some things in their life before they're gonna actually experience healing. And that's part of the healing process. That's why we experience physical problems, is because our soul is knocking on the door trying to tell us, you know, something needs to be changed here. So it really depends at what point people come. In terms of what we can help with, you know, there really is no limit. You know, people come with physical problems, from headaches to digestive problems to cancerous tumors to, you know, and often like some unusual things as well. Like I said, people come after nothing else explains it, and the way we can help is that we can see that this is an energetic problem and there really is nothing physically wrong with you. I often tell people, you know, people get discouraged when they go to the doctor and the doctor says, I can't find anything wrong with you. And I say, that is the best thing you could hear, because, you know, come to us then, because we'll be able to help you. There's something happening at the soul level and at the energetic level.
So I know I'm curious about this, and I'm sure that the audience is also. Maybe you've seen, I'm sure, hundreds of people, if not thousands, I'm not sure how many, but do you have, does a case come to mind that just really, was just something truly remarkable that you witnessed with your work?
Well, I'd like to mention a couple, because
if we can.
I guess one is, you know, there's often connections between family members in terms of healing. So when someone comes for healing for themselves, I'm often end up looking energetically at the whole family, because there's connections there. And so I had a woman come, and she needed healing for herself, and she just happened to mention that her daughter was getting migraine headaches and had been for several years, and they couldn't do anything about it. And she also got really bad sinusitis every single winter. And so as I was working with the mother, who was there in the office with me, and clearing some things with her to help her move forward physically and emotionally, I noticed that there was this huge block between her and her daughter that was physically, it looked as though they were joined together at the head. And I just read into it, saw it had to do with a past life. And there had been some trauma in a past life, and I won't get too much into it, but using the energy work that we do, basically just went in and was able to lift that block, which disconnected their energy. And reporting back, you know, a couple months later, the mom had moved forward emotionally in that she didn't worry about her daughter as much. That was one of the concerns she had come in with, was she was always worrying about her. So that had been where the block had been kind of hurting her. And now it's several months later, actually, and I just recently had a message from her, and her daughter has been migraine free ever since that session and didn't get any problems with her sinuses. So for the mom, it was an emotional healing. For the daughter, it was a physical healing.
Interesting.
And then the other thing I just want to mention that's really important to me, and we haven't really talked too much about in our work, is working with children, especially the younger children who are coming in at this time. They're very gifted. There's a lot of children who are energy healers who are coming in, and they're experiencing a lot of unusual physical symptoms. And this is, you know, a lot of children who are diagnosed with autism, ADD, as well as really just unexplained things. And so a lot of parents are bringing their children to me, and I'm able to help clear up these physical things, but also help these children connect to their gifts. And it's a really big part of the healing process. And so, you know, a child that I'm working with right now has difficulty going to the bathroom on her own, unaided. She's 4 years old. She was never able to go to the bathroom unaided. And, you know, very painful for her, very, very painful. And so the energy work helped her to be able to go normally. And now when I work with her, all I'm doing is teaching her how to do healing work. So, and I'm working with her at a distance. I've never even met this child. You know, our work can be done at a distance, and you know, I just communicate with people on the phone.
One of my first experiences in distance healing was a friend of mine who didn't really have, he was coming to me for a session, didn't really know why. So I just kind of did a basic clearing of his energy field and addressed some things that I saw in it. He came back to me, you know, a week or two later and talked about how the process of working with me opened up his energy flow to a degree that he took a step back and realized that he had some issues with alcohol that he needed treatment for, that it was time to get himself on meds to deal with some emotional issues, and that he needed to change his diet. He was so moved by the shift in the energy that he felt and seeing the potential for where his body wanted to be. And at this point, he's had sobriety for quite a while. He's lost a lot of weight. He's relocated. He's gotten back into his former spiritual path. So a major life change.
Thank you for sharing that. So again, it's the Indigo Healing Institute, and tell us the website.
IndigoHealingInstitute.org.
Okay.
And 505-265-9594.
Excellent. Okay, great. You can use either of those if you'd like to get in touch with Matthew and Emily and work with them. And thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your talents and gifts with us.
Thank you,
really
Christian.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Christian.
Okay. You're welcome. It's time for Desert Island Books. This is our weekly book review where we review a book that if you were stuck on a desert island and once you had all your essentials taken care of, food, water, shelter, clothing, etc., then you would want one of these books. This week's book is The Spirituality of Imperfection by Ernest Kurtz and Catherine Ketchum. This is a wonderful book. It came out almost 20 years ago. This is a library copy. Essentially what it is, it's a collection of wisdom stories throughout all the great traditions are represented. Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Sufism, you name it. They pick out these stories and basically they weave these stories into the development of Alcoholics Anonymous. So what they're suggesting is that with the emergence of AA, that was another example of sort of the perennial wisdom coming into the world. Anyway, it's a wonderful book. If you don't find a story that you like and that touches you in this book, you don't like stories. So they've got it at the South Broadway Library. Check it out. It's excellent. It definitely gets Dr. O's Golden Stethoscope Award. Okay, time to wrap it up. I want to thank Matthew and Emily again for coming on the show. I want to thank everyone at Quote Unquote for giving us the airtime. I want to thank John, Ivy, Colleen, and Erica for making the show happen today. If you like the show, you can check us out online, www.pathstowellness.net. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can send them to me at dr.o@pathstowellness.net. We want to give you something to chew on. We call it the Cud. This week's Cud comes from the Sufi mystic Rumi, who wrote, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the stronger pull of what you truly love." So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then, remember, it's your body, learn to care for it. It's your mind, learn to focus it. It's your heart, learn to awaken it. See you next week.
Keep on opening doors. Let the past go